We're only 6 games in, and Nebraska's already matched their win total from Matt Rule's first season. The defense lived up to the hype, the offense made a huge jump, and even though there's a painful loss, this has been the best year in Lincoln since I started my channel. I spent hours this summer giving predictions for how I thought things would play out in the fall, and now that we're halfway through, it's time to check the progress. So today we'll look back at my preseason bold predictions, I'll give you an updated record prediction, and we'll check to see what ESPN's FPI thinks about the next 6 games. But what's up, guys? I'm Connor Hayden, and this is Corn Crazed. If you're a fan of Nebraska or the Big Ten, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my post-game live reactions. And if you're fired up for the second half of the season, hit the like button and help us get to 1,000. But now, let's get into it.
He's hit and sacked. He's taking a shot downfield, wide open end zone, caught, touchdown.
Before the season started, I pulled up the FPI model to see how it ranked Nebraska's toughest to easiest games and which ones it predicted they could win. But the model had limited data, so it's hard to be accurate with all the change and key pieces moving around. I think the ones that stick out the most are Colorado, who was supposed to be the 4th toughest matchup, and then Indiana and Illinois, who were supposed to be the easiest wins outside of Northern Iowa and UTEP. But now that we're 6 weeks in, the model's had time to adjust its predictions and give us new percentages for the rest of these games. Ohio State's still their toughest matchup, but Nebraska's odds to win that one actually went down 3.2%. USC's already lost 2 Big Ten games, but the model boosted their chances to win almost 4%. Then you've got Indiana, a team Nebraska was supposed to have a 62.2% chance to beat. This was by far the biggest swing, dropping all the way down to only 24%. It thinks IU wins 3 out of the 4 times they play. There wasn't much of a shift with Iowa. The odds they beat Wisconsin went up a little, and now that UCLA's played a few games, they're projected to be the easiest Power 4 win on the schedule with a 78% chance of victory. And I told you before that FPI is pretty accurate with its results, but my predictions were solid too. So let's look back to where I thought they'd be at this point, and now that I've got more info, I'll give you my updated wins and losses. I gotta pause for a second though, because Prize Picks has been powering our show all season, and we've had over 250 subscribers join us with promo code CORN so they could set some lineups on Saturdays. Now, I've had a few people reach out asking questions about how the app works or saying they were interested even though they haven't made an account yet. So if you've been on the fence but you want to try it out, this is the week to do it. We've got Ohio State at Oregon, Penn State at USC, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida at Tennessee, Ole Miss at LSU, and Kansas State at Colorado. This is the strongest weekend of the entire season, so I know you're going to be watching even though Nebraska's on bye. If you sign up with our code CORN, you get $50 in promo after you place your first $5 lineup. And there's no catch. They're just going to give you $50 to play with for signing up and picking some players. I had some winners on Saturday. Swagner and Twevin both dropped these lineups in our Discord group, and I know after this weekend, our Corn Craze group will have even more. Prize Picks is available in Nebraska, California, Texas, and over 30 other states. So if you see your state colored in, you can sign up and play there. I'll give out my lineups on the Thursday night live stream and in our Corn Craze Discord group. So if you want to play with us this week and play with Prize Picks promo money, you can use our code CORN and join us over there. I dropped my full record prediction video 3 weeks before UTEP, and I know not everybody agreed with me because at the time, the 7-0 start was such a popular take with a lot of people in the media. But up to this point, I had Nebraska at 5-1 just like they are today. I thought they'd beat Illinois, and I had doubts about the Purdue game since it was a bad spot, but whatever, they're still exactly where I expected them to be. Now the back half of the schedule needs a tweak. Indiana's way better than I thought they'd be. I just still don't think Nebraska's going to lose that game coming off a bye. I'm still a believer in Matt Rule having an advantage over Lincoln Riley and USC. And Iowa's the same boring, winning team they always are. But Wisconsin's a different story. I guess coming into Lincoln, they're going to be sitting at 4-6, which is a desperation spot, meaning they're more likely to play better on that day. I just don't think they're going to be able to beat Nebraska on a senior day with a defense led by a bunch of seniors. They lost their starting QB for the year. Malusi had to retire for medical reasons, and it just feels like they're further behind in their rebuild because they lack top-end talent. So I'm adjusting my record prediction from 8-4 back in August to 9-3 today. But they're dogs in two of the games I'm saying they'll win. So Vegas still thinks Nebraska is just a 7-win team. Now let's go back to my 8 bold predictions to see where they stand now. And we'll kick it off with Raiola to finish top 35 nationally in passing yards. Start with this stat line: 113 of 169 with 9 TDs, 3 interceptions, and 1,360 yards. He's completing 66% of his throws, and outside of one bad game against Rutgers, he's averaging 244 yards a game. If he can hit that average over the next 6, he's going to finish with about 2,800, but that won't be enough. To finish top 35, I think he's going to need to hit 3K. To get there, Raiola needs to average 273 a game for the rest of the year, and the only time he's thrown for that many was against Illinois when he had 297. But there's a chance that happens. Nebraska's been the favorite in every game they played so far, and most of the time, their defense was strong enough to win, so the offense didn't have to put up a ton of yards to get it done. That'll change though. They're going to be dogs in 4 of the next 6, and the defense can keep them in it against Indiana, Ohio State, and USC. But to win those 3, Dylan's going to have to get it done through the air, meaning we're going to see more chances for him to throw. Does finishing as a top 35 passer really matter for his future? Probably not. It'd just be a really nice position for a freshman QB to finish in. Number 2, I said the defense would force over 20 turnovers, and this one's on pace. They've recovered 3 fumbles and picked off 7 passes. There's an argument that the QBs they'll play over the next few weeks are going to be better protecting the ball, but they'll also be throwing it a lot more than some of these other guys did. Hartzog leads with 2 interceptions, then Bullock, Wright, Buford, Hill, and Stewart all have 1. And the 3 forced fumbles came from McGahee, Bullock, and Wright. The defense is way better at taking it away this season. They play for picks, and they always go to the ball when they're trying to bring a runner down. Today, they're tied for 15th nationally in takeaways with Miami, Clemson, and South Carolina. But more impressive, they're tied for 13th in turnover margin with +6. That's better than Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, and Texas. Rules completely flipped the script on the negative turnover narrative. Number 3 was that Jamari Butler would have 7 sacks after he finished with 5.5 last season. But he's only at 1 right now, so this feels like a stretch. Robinson's got 6 tackles for loss with 4 sacks, and Williams is right behind him with 4 and 4. MJ Sherman's got 3 and 3, which is already twice as many as he had all of last season, and he's been one of the biggest surprises to me as a pass rusher. The defense finished with 32 total sacks in 2023, but they've already got 20 today, and we might see Ty or James Williams get the 7 that I thought Jamari Butler would have. Number 4 was that we'd see a kick or a punt return for a score, but this one's probably not going to hit. The best chances for it to were against less talented teams, but I can only remember one of their 9 returns having big play potential before Barney got tripped up. The one thing I didn't expect was a fake punt from Buschini to convert for a first down, and since that tricked Rutgers, I bet we'd see another special teams fake in a different game this season. Number 5 is that Isaiah Neyor would score at least 10 touchdowns, but he's only got 4 so far. Jamal Banks leads the offense with 21 receptions, but Neyor's on top in yards with 291 and should have had way more by now based on how many targets he gets. I still think 10's a reasonable number to expect with a heavier pass game down the stretch, but with Barney coming on strong in these past couple games, he's going to take away from the scoring opportunities. And that takes us to number 6. I thought we'd see 2 true freshman All-Americans. Dylan's a lock since he's one of only 4 true freshmen starting QBs, but I thought Carter Nelson, Ja'Cory Barney, or Vincent Shavers were the other 3 that had a chance. Shavers has played in every game, but he only has 8 tackles so far, so he's probably not a contender. Carter Nelson has 8 catches for 75 yards and a TD, but again, that's not enough to make a team with superstars from Ohio State and Alabama. But the one guy who turned it on was Ja'Cory Barney. He's been on fire. He's 2nd on the team in receptions and 3rd in receiving yards. In total, he's had 26 touches for 253 yards and 2 TDs. His role's growing, and the fact that On3 has both Raiola and Barney on their mid-season freshman All-American team makes me think that this prediction has a really good chance to hit. Number 7 was to go undefeated at Memorial Stadium. This one's busted since they dropped a game in overtime, but Nebraska's favored to win their last two at home, so I'm not going to complain about 6-1, especially since they took down Colorado, who's turning out to be better than most people expected. Winning at home is important for three reasons. One, the fans need motivation to keep acting crazy and to feel like their efforts are impacting the game. Two, wins at home build confidence in the team, because if you can't win there, how can you expect to win on the road? And three, recruiting's Matt Rule's top priority. Showing recruits that Nebraska's a winning team today makes it a lot easier to close them than trying to sell them on a fantasy. And last at number 8, I had Nebraska finishing ranked 22nd or better. This one's still a possibility, but they'd have to finish 8-4, then win their bowl game. And to get to 8, they'll have to pull an upset at either Indiana, USC, or Iowa. Ohio State would work too, but I just think that's a lot less likely. If they do finish the regular season with 8 wins, we're going to be pumped as fans, but they're also going to get to play in a respectable bowl game like the Citrus in Orlando or Music City in Nashville. I think the projected 8 or 9 win SEC teams are Mizzou, OU, and Kentucky. All teams that match up really well with Nebraska talent-wise, but would definitely push them to a top 20 ranking if they could finish with 9 wins. Tony White's defense is on fire right now. The offense still has work to do, but they've got the weapons they lacked last fall, and if players can keep the energy high for the rest of the season, there's no reason to believe they can't win or at least be extremely competitive in every one of these last 6 games. I leave for New York on Friday for Monday Night Football with the Bills and the Jets. So I'm going to do my Week 7 prediction stream on Thursday night. Then next week, I'm going to have my IU preview up by Wednesday, a guest live stream Thursday, and then the Week 8 live stream on Friday. But I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. Is the top 25 still the goal, or are you happy with just making it to a bowl game? Have you adjusted your win-loss prediction yet, or are you sticking with what you had before the season? And what's your new bold prediction for the second half of the year? I'll say Raiola has 2 games where he throws for over 300, because to win a shootout, you're going to have to find success through the air. But that's all I've got for today, so until next time, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Go Big Red.